Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Beata Friday, and it's going to be an amazing session this morning. I'm so excited about continuing where we stopped at the last Bridging the Gap event. So, Bridging the Gap is an event liaised with PIPO Network, and PIPO Network, of course, stands for Piecing Peace Out Network, which is ultimately a network that is founded, that was founded to make sure that when we talk about peace, it is holistic. There's peace within our families, and it is that peace from within our families that we bring out to the world. So the notion that we need a better world and that we don't have to start building that better world from within our homes is a wrong notion. And PIBO Network is out to make sure that the real, authentic notion is what is spread. So, welcome. Today, we'll be talking about grooming, and it is going to be real. It's going to get real. It is going to get real. But in the meantime, we are going to give it a few seconds, 30 to be exact, and then we'll continue. Yes. So, for anyone who's wondering why me and why this topic, my name is Beata Dafredi, and I am a teen coach, a teen and a young adult coach. I'm actually a Maxwell certified leadership trainer. So, I coach and I speak as well. And I have a focus on teenage and young adults. So, it is so important what we'll be talking about today because part of what I do is make sure that the gap is bridged between young people and their families while also helping them discover their best selves, helping them look ahead to the future because all kinds of things are happening. We are seeing a great portion of young people, Gen Zs, and even now, Gen Alpha, coming into a mindset where they are almost afraid of the future. They're afraid of adulting. They're afraid of whatever is coming, which is such a difference from when I was a teenager. I spent my whole life as a young person wanting to be an adult. I couldn't wait. I wanted to be able to do my own thing. I wanted to be able to work. I wanted to have my own TV station. I had all this wonderful, wonderful dreams of what I wanted to do. But now when I see young people who are having the same, who are supposed to be having the same or a similar experience where they can't wait to start their life. Many of them are afraid of what's coming. And part of that fear is because there's real things to be scared of outside. And unlike when I was a young child and I was sheltered from the realities outside, they get to see everything on social media. And that is part of the issues. So we're getting a lot of people who are afraid. They're not sure what their future is supposed to look like. And it's scary. And then for the young adults, and then for the adults, the parents, the aunties, the guardians, um, the grown-ups in their lives, it now falls on us to make sure that we can push away that thought, that notion about what they're thinking and make them know your future is bright. Great things are going to happen to you. This is your preparation period. And guide them as they go on. So today we'll be talking about grooming. And I sincerely believe that the framework that we'll be learning today, that I'll be sharing, will help us talk about safety in general and will help us communicate with our teenagers and our young adults about just life. I know that it will set us up for something amazing. So we're going to kick it off. So let me know if you're watching this, where you're watching me from, and let me know what you're expecting. What is your thought about grooming? Like, what is grooming? Do you even know what that is? What is grooming? And I'm going to share something that also makes me a tad sad about the topic that we're talking about. Okay, so something that makes me a bit sad about this topic is the fact that the word grooming is actually supposed to be a good word. So when I was younger, it was personal hygiene and grooming. So the word grooming talked about, how a person combed their hair, how a person dressed up, how a person comported themselves outside, how they, just took care of themselves and then presented to the outside world. But today, the word grooming is largely being used for something way more sinister, and I'm going to get into it. So, yes, this is the topic for today. It is how to successfully communicate the realities of grooming and other hard topics to your tweens, your teens, and your young adults. And so, for those who don't know, the tween years are the 9 to 12, that age, the 9 to 12. So, for some people who are going to say 9 to 12 is pretty young, I know, but the 9-year-olds of today are 9 going on 19. So let me know if you're one of those parents that saw your 9-year-old presenting behavior that you had only heard that teenagers present. Let me know if that's you. Let me know if that's you. All right. So that is the topic. And of course, my name is Beata Dafrede. My name is Beata Dafrede. I am very, very proud of what I do because I know that it's going to help a lot of people as they move ahead. So, hi, I'm Beata, a certified leadership and team coach committed to bridging the gap and equipping young individuals with insight and skills that help them achieve healthy success. How about you? I'd love to hear about you and what you do. So please share something about yourself in the comments. So, how will this workshop benefit anyone who watches? I will be breaking down the realities of grooming and predatory behavior. I will be identifying red flags of grooming and learning how predators build trust. By the end of this, you will understand the mindset and shift required for present dangers. I will be sharing a signature method and steps to guide safety conversations. There will also be a bit of role play if we can include that time in our session. And I'll be opening up my invitation to my upcoming workshop, which is called Set Them Up for Success. Okay. So what is grooming? Grooming is when an older person builds a relationship with a younger person to manipulate, exploit, or abuse them. Grooming can happen online or in person. So, as I was saying a few seconds ago, grooming used to mainly be about, how a person took care of themselves, their personal hygiene, the way they did their hair, making sure that their hair is neat, their face looks presentable, everything is just neat. They're not smelly, they smell nice. That used to be what grooming was about. But now, grooming is a word used to discuss and raise a more sinister issue, which is when an older person builds a relationship with a younger person to manipulate, to exploit, or to abuse them. Grooming can happen online or in person. So, in times where I've had to speak about this topic, I've got some pushback. Why? Because when I raise this topic, The pushback is usually about, well, are you trying to say that an adult can have a relationship with a younger person? Are you saying that an adult can be friends with someone that is way younger than them? Are you saying that a person can't mentor someone who's way younger than them? No, that's not what I'm saying. All of those are very great things. Having relationships, I mean, friendships with people who are way younger, when an adult does that, it's not a bad thing necessarily. The issue is the motive and maturity, and also recognizing a few things, among which are that many times that friendship isn't balanced, because what friendship does is more of a symbiotic relationship. It's more of a give and take. There's discussion, there's learning, there's so many things that go on in a friendship. There's rough patches, there is, patches that are smooth, and it's all fun and games. So there needs to be a closer look into how that is happening when it's a relationship between an older person and a younger person. When it's done right, it is the best thing that can ever happen, especially to that younger person, because they are learning so much. Their older friend is able to help them navigate issues. There are some things that they are ignoring, and that older friend is like, no, you need to pay attention. They might be talking about, oh, maybe I want to take some years off and I'm not sure I want to go to maybe college or trade school or whatnot. And that older person is like, no, when I was young like you, I almost made that mistake, or I saw somebody make that mistake, or stuff like that. So like a mentor, but more of an informal kind of mentoring. But grooming is not that. I just wanted to get that out of the way, that grooming is not that. Grooming is when the motive of the relationship is to manipulate, exploit, or abuse the person. So we're going to move on. And we need to pay close attention to the next slide. We will be talking about the red flags of grooming. Because, like I shared now, it can get fuzzy. Sometimes we're not sure. Sometimes parents are not sure. Sometimes guardians are not sure. Sometimes friends are not sure. And this is something that I share on my shared on my Lemonade handle when I talk largely about grooming. And I could not believe the replies that I got. Some from people, because Lemonade is mainly a younger crowd. It's a social media app for a younger crowd. But I could not believe the responses I got, and some of them broke my heart. Some of them talked about how, it happened to them. Some of them talked about how it happened to their friends and how they're not sure how to escalate the issue. So we might find ourselves in a situation where we are getting the vibe that grooming is happening, but we're not sure. And we don't want to raise an alarm and hurt people's reputation. This is real. As a parent, you don't want to raise an alarm and lose the trust of your child. You're not sure. Do you act? Do you not act? So, what are some red flags of grooming? Number one, the adult, the older person in the friendship is showing excessive attention and flattery. So for some people who are thinking, what does excessive attention and flattery look like? Bombarding with calls, bombarding with texts, very in the face of the younger person, telling them usually, not in all cases, but usually it's more about, oh, you're so mature, you're way older than your age. Oh, I see you and your friends, you're way smarter than them. Wow, they're so lucky to have you. You must be such an asset to your family. You're so smart. I'm sure your parents are so proud of you. Just very excessive attention and flattery about how they're special, how they're so mature, and how it would be so easy to misunderstand them, right? So when we get to the end of this workshop, you will find out that they are setting the stage for what they're going to do. A groomer typically starts with setting the stage for what they are going to do. Number two red flag, The groomer isolates the younger person from friends and family to be seen as the sole savior. Oh, are you playing games today? Then this is for an online situation. Or you're going to be here playing games tonight around maybe 11. Oh no, I have to go to bed because, you know, my mom will tell me to go to bed. They're like, really? You shouldn't be getting sent to bed. You're so mature. Like, why are they treating you like a kid? You know what? If it was me, I would never send you to bed. That's like a little tiny example of how they're trying to come across as the soul savior. Oh, so and so did this to you. If it was me, I would never do that to you. They obviously don't appreciate what you bring to the table. The soul savior. I'm the only one that can save you. I'm the only one that sees you. I'm the only one that knows what you're worth. That is how they present. And of course, a younger person might fall into that trap. Okay, another red flag. They bombard with gifts and favors. Very quick to buy stuff, very quick to send you online gifts, very quick to send you stuff to buy games or get more credit on games. Oh, I don't like my phone. It's not a cool iPhone. They're like, I could buy you an iPhone. Or I could send you money to save up to be able to buy an iPhone. Things that would make a younger person say, wow, are you for real? Like, even my parents wouldn't do that. Meanwhile, their parents could be trying to communicate something very different. Like, their parents could be trying to communicate that they need to save up. They need to learn how to steward money. Their parents could be trying to communicate to them that money isn't easy to come by and that they need to be careful about their relationship with money. It could be that. But, when they have someone who's telling them, yes, I can help you and, I'll do that for you, they're not thinking that that person is setting them up. They're just thinking this person is kind and this person is nice. All right. Okay, let's continue. So they disregard personal boundaries as time goes on. Everything that is happening from number one, showing excessive attention and flattery, isolating from friends and family, to be seen as the soul savior, bombarding with gifts and favors, all of this is setting up that young person for something. And then we're moving into that, right? They disregard the personal boundaries of the younger person as time goes on. They disregard the personal boundaries of the tween, of the of the teen, of the young adult as time goes on. Because of course the person says, you know what, I need to go home. It's getting late. Why do you need to go home? Like, you're so mature. It doesn't make sense that you have to go home now. Like, your people your age are already living alone by themselves in some countries. And haven't I always been the one to step up and save you? Like, you're safe with me. Like, all your friends and your family, there are times that they didn't give you stuff, and I gave you those things. So why do you want to rush off right now? Like, we can hang out more. You see where I'm going? You see where the setup comes in? Okay. So they disregard personal boundaries as time goes on. They will ignore a young person saying, no, I don't want to give you I don't want you to touch me here, or I don't want you to hug me like that, or this feels inappropriate. What do you mean? It's me. I'm your friend. Like, you know what we've been through and such, right? And so they start to push that person's boundaries until there's nothing there. That is the aim. They create opportunity for secrecy and guilt trips, just like I said. But this one, I will give more of an insight. A groomer does something called secret trading. And I actually found a video that would clue us, give more of an idea of what I'm talking about. But for now, I will explain. So they start off by sharing secrets with the younger person, telling them things that, typically nobody would know about, or probably nobody knows about. Oh, I'm getting divorced. My wife doesn't love me. My husband doesn't care about me. But please don't tell anybody. I need you to keep this secret from me. Oh, I have something going on. Like something I never planned was going to happen. It happened. But if people know, they're going to judge me some kind of way. I'm not really sure who loves me or who cares about me. Can you keep this secret for me? And they're giving that person secrets and making them believe that they have a very special position in that person's life because they happen to be the one holding the person's secrets. But what they're also doing is asking the person for their secrets, probing into that person's life, asking them to share and open up to them more and more. And when the person tries to set the boundaries of, no, I don't think I want to. What do you mean? I told you about my wife who's leaving me and nobody else knows but you. Are you saying you cannot trust me with your secret? And then that young person says, you know what, you're right. This is what is happening. This is how I feel. I feel uncomfortable about my body. I feel uncomfortable about this body part. And they're like, what? This isn't true. Like, send me a picture. I'll send you my picture. You send me your picture. And they begin to create opportunities for secrecy. They begin to guilt trip the younger person. And these are things that are the red flags when it comes to these relationships. Unfortunately, this happens online and on site, online and in person. It can happen either way. Is this really happening? I always get that question. Is this really happening? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is happening. Yes, it happens every year. Yes, it happens. Yes, it's happening closer to home than you can ever imagine. Yes, it's happening in safe spaces. It is happening in schools. It is happening among people who you would never think it would happen. It is happening regardless of zip code. It is happening in rich neighborhoods and in poor neighborhoods. It's happening in religious neighborhoods and in non-religious neighborhoods. It is happening. I'm here to tell you it's happening, right? So please don't walk around after watching this saying, "Oh, I didn't know this was a reality." I'm telling you, tell them I said. They're in that Friday. Coach said it's happening. Grooming is real. Predators are real. But we are not left without any ideas of what to do. And we're going to go into that. And there's something on my that's not on my slide, but I'll be sharing in another video, and that is the myths and the wrong notions that parents, guardians, mentors have about grooming. And why do I keep mentioning these three groups of people? Because I'm a parent, but it doesn't mean that the only children that I parent are mine. A mentor to a young child kind of takes on a parenting responsibility. Sometimes you have people who are not biological parents, but they happen to be the guardians of people, but they're like wrestling with, well, what's the boundary for me? I'm not their real parent, blah, blah, blah. Protection from grooming and predators online and in real life is part of your job. If you're a parent, you're a mentor, you're a guardian of any kind, that's your job. Okay, let's go. So, yes, it's happening. How do predators build trust? Like, we talk to our kids, we tell them so much. How have they got to a place where, like, how do predators get away with this? We see videos sometimes, and it's almost like we see videos. You know what? Let me know if you've ever seen a video of a child going to an adult's house in the middle of the night while her parents are asleep. She doesn't tell her parents what she's doing. She goes to a groomer's house, and then they bring in a camera crew. So there's videos like that if you go on YouTube where they've been watching a groomer online, or they've been masquerading as a groomer with the consent of the child's parents. And they kind of set up the child to see if the child will fall for it. Many times the child does fall for it. And you can see the look on the parent's face. The parent is like, after everything I've told you to be careful, I'm tracking your phone, da da da. How can you fall into this? And so that brings us to this slide. How predators build trust. So, how do predators build trust? This is it. Predators build trust by mirroring interests and hobbies to increase appeal and foster trust. What does this mean? When a groomer, a person who is trying to start a relationship or a friendship with a person way younger than them with the intention to oppress them, to take advantage of them, which I talked about in the earlier slide, with the intention of cheating them out of their innocence. That's a predator. That's a groomer. So how do they do it? They start out by mirroring interests. They meet this younger person, and they're like, "Oh, you like reading books? I love reading books. Books are my life. Oh, you love book talk? Yeah, I'm on book talk too. Like, I love book talk." They're like mirroring interests, and that younger person is so blown away that they've met a grown up who knows so much about the world, can tell them so many stories, and likes the same things that they like. As grown-ups, we might not understand that kind of mindset, but it's actually in a teenager's mind, in a tween's mind, it's a real thing. Mirroring interests and mirroring hobbies. Oh, you love soccer. I love soccer. Do you know so and so? Oh yes, I've traveled to so and so country to watch a live match. And that child who has never traveled to watch a live match is blown away. They're like, really? Tell me about it. And that increases the appeal of the older person and begins to let the child's walls come down. So it increases their ability to trust in that older person. This is one way that a predator builds trust with children. Predators are quick to offer help, like very quick. Oh, something is wrong with my phone. Oh yeah, I'll give you money to help you fix it. Oh, I want to play Roblox, but my mom is not letting me. Oh yeah, I'll send you an online gift so you can pay for it. Just things that make that young child or that younger person beholden to them, makes them so grateful. And what they're doing is that they're preparing so that that child cannot say no later. They're setting it up so that that child, if they refuse anything, they can be like, what? How can you refuse? I do everything for you. Everything I do is for you, right? So it's a setup. But this is typically what groomers and predators do to build trust. Getting the young person hooked on keeping secrets by sharing their personal struggles. This is something that we talked about in a previous slide, right? They're telling that person, oh, my wife is divorcing me. She doesn't really love me. Oh, my fiance is leaving me, but please don't tell anyone. It's just between me and you. Oh, I feel some kind of way about my leg. I feel like it doesn't, there's something wrong with it, but please don't tell anybody. I'm just sharing it with you. And they start to groom that child into believing that they have a special relationship and it's all about secrets. They're keeping each other's secrets. This, and when the child shares secrets with them as well, they are not below using those secrets to blackmail that child. What, you don't want to show up anymore? You don't want to message with me anymore? You don't want me to come to your school? Okay, then I'll tell your parents about what you've been doing. Okay, I'll post that picture you sent of yourself to me online if you think you can stop, our relationship. And then the final way that predators build trust that I'll be speaking about here, of course, there are other ways. They introduce inappropriate behavior slowly. So when a parent sees that a younger child is having a very inappropriate relationship with an adult, which is even illegal, right? It's almost like, how did you even get here? That parent, of course, is confused. How did you even get to this point? right? And the reason why they got to that point is because, of course, they're younger. Their frontal lobe isn't developed as the science tells us. So of course they're going to make bad decisions if they're not guided properly. And many times they are going to take high risk, they're going to show us high risk behavior, right? But another thing that we might not be considering is that this inappropriate behavior doesn't happen in a flash. It starts slow. That child or that young adult has been taught to be desensitized. Um, the groomer hugs them, let's say in an in-person situation, not online now. A groomer hugs them, right? And touches them in an inappropriate way. And the first day they might be like, oh, this is not normal. The second time they may, be kind of like, not normal, but okay. The third time they're like, okay, maybe this is just how it is. Maybe I'm the one who's taking it too seriously. Like that. And that's why we're going to talk about continuously having conversations with, our children, our teens, our tweens, our young adults about these things because it also doesn't happen in a flash. So please let me know if you have any questions, if you've ever experienced what I'm talking about, or you almost, got into a situation like this, or you have a friend who experienced something like this, please feel free to let me know if this resonates with you. All right, so I want to share a couple of receipts, but let me go back one slide. I don't want to rush too quickly. Let me go back one slide. So let's take, for instance, last year, I believe it was last year, there was a teacher who was discovered to be having inappropriate relationships with young boys, ranging from the age of, I believe it was said 9 to, I believe it was 13 or 14. And she was having inappropriate relationships with all of them. She was giving them gifts. She was buying them things. A very crazy story. I think she's in court right now. Very crazy story. And there have been many stories like that. But in this situation, what even went ahead to shock us is that her spouse knew about it. And what he would do was he would be, when they were leaving the house of that teacher, he would be threatening them. Don't let me see you here again. You need to stop this. So when all of this started to come out in court, it sounded crazy. It sounded very crazy. But guess what? It's happening in many different places. And grooming is a global problem. The issue of predators is a global problem. And as my son always continues to correct me, he's like, Mom, any gender can do this. Because sometimes, I would lean more towards one gender because he's a boy. He'll be like, no, Mom, any gender can do this. And it's true. This is happening across. And as parents, guardians, mentors, it's our role to make sure that we are a listening ear and we are paying attention. Okay. So, for anyone who's saying, this is just scare tactics, why are you trying to scare us so much? I have receipts. I come bearing receipts. So that's what you see on this slide. And what are our receipts saying? They're saying 300 million children worldwide are victims of online sexual exploitation and abuse every year. Every year, children across the world, at least 12.6%, are being subjected to non-consensual sharing and exposure to sexual images and videos annually. What are our children watching? What are they seeing? The IWF, that's the Internet Watch Foundation, they reported a 380% increase in AI-generated child sexual abuse imagery from 2023 to 2024. And they're saying 40% of this content is categorized as Category A, which is the most severe level. We heard last year about a woman who was being trafficked by her own spouse. And how they were doing it was that every time he was going to, you know, sell her out, which is basically the best way to explain what he was doing, he would drug her and other people would come into the house. And how he had done it with over 50 individuals, and how they had WhatsApp groups, and how they were, it was a crazy story. So this, please, this is real. And we had a whole slide at the beginning where, there was the question, is this really happening? Yes, it is. A meta-analysis published in the Lancet Child and Adolescent Health found that 1 in 12 children globally have been exposed to online sexual exploitation or abuse, including grooming, sexting, and extortion. So for anyone who's wondering, how does this extortion happen? I remember, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago. There's this young man, a boy in America. He had got into some kind of online relationship with someone who he thought really cared about him, and he had sent pictures of himself without any clothes. And that person, I believe, must have also sent him pictures, of themselves, or an AI generated picture or a fake picture, And eventually, it turns out that that person he thought was a friend started to blackmail him, saying, I'm going to share these pictures of you. I'm going to share them online. I'm going to plaster everything, right? And the reason why that person could have been able to use that to blackmail him and everything was because he had shared things about his family, the kind of family he came from. This boy came from a very respectable family. They were not the kind to be happy or to just wave away pictures of their son online on the internet. And he was being blackmailed, and this was getting so serious. And the parents knew nothing about what was going on. Nothing about what was going on. So much so, and sadly, he unalived himself because of this blackmail. And when it was uncovered, the world got to find out that there was never any person who liked him, or he was never in a real relationship. He was with scammers whose focus was to pretend to be somebody who liked him just to get to that point. So he was being groomed, but not to exploit him in a way that was particularly sexual extortion. It was more financial extortion, but using tools that a groomer would use. So this is real. A survey by Childline revealed that only about 1 in 5 children who experience online grooming report to an adult or authority. This highlights the importance of creating supportive environments for children to disclose such experiences. We have to be a supportive environment. We have to make our homes, our spaces, supportive environments. And I cannot wait to tell you about my workshop, my training that's coming up. It's called Set Them Up for Success, but it's actually a psychological safety class for parents about how we can make our homes psychologically safe enough that they can tell us anything, right? Okay. Research by the Internet Watch Foundation found that children aged 11 to 13 years old are at the highest risk of online grooming. This age group is particularly vulnerable due to their increased online presence and developing social interactions. 11 to 13 is such an impressionable age, and so much is changing. They're at that point where they know that they're not kids anymore, but they're not grown. They're just like there, It's a tough age, and it's an age that is very vulnerable because of the games that they are playing and just how their minds are right now. So these are two things I want us to think about. Let's consider them in our mind. How were the safety conversations handled when you were growing up? What was a safety conversation for you when you were growing up? For me, a safety conversation was more of, my mom would say, If any man comes to the house, don't say, and they tell you to sit down on their legs, don't sit down on their legs. You're not babies anymore. If adults come to the house and they say they want to carry you and you should, they want to hug you, and you need to leave the room. Of course, there was, when you see somebody on the street and they're talking to you, asking for directions, don't respond, just walk away quickly. If they try to grab you, scream. What else? um, if you see money on the street, don't pick it up. If you're somebody who got that advice too, please, let me know in the comments. If you see money on the street, do not pick it up, because something might happen. Something might happen. And if you know what it is that they would tell us would happen, please drop it in the comments as well. But those are the safety conversations that we would have. For some people, they would get to tell them, don't even talk to a boy. If a boy wants to talk to you, say no. If a boy wants to hug you, say no. Like there was all of that. But now when I look back, it was great advice. It was great advice. But many people got very vague advice. Very vague advice. I think that generation did what they did the best that they could with what they thought was the problem, right? That's what they thought. It's safety conversation for them to tell you, if you see somebody in if you grew up in like a military, a country or a state where the military was in power, they told you, oh, if you see a military person passing, make sure you don't look them too close in the eye. If they say anything, don't argue with them. If you see the police, don't argue with them. Those were safety conversations when we were growing up. Right? If somebody tells you to get in their car, that they want to drop you off at school, tell them, no, you walk. Don't get in a stranger's car, which is what drives me nuts when I see, I'm not, what's it called? When I see people pick up people by the side of the road that they don't know. They don't know them. They just pick them up, right? So another question that we can ask ourselves, and I would love to see your answers. What are some tough questions or responses you faced when having safety conversations? So if you're a parent, you're a guardian, you're a mentor, you're now having safety conversations, what are some tough ones that you got? I've got some pretty tough ones, and I shared one a few minutes ago where my son was like, "Why do you always talk about, be careful about your male teachers, being careful about your male teachers? Female teachers can groom too." And this is something I teach, and I know that female teachers can groom too, but with him, I was just more focused on another gender, and he was like correcting me, like, "But that they're not the only ones." I was like, "Well, it's good that you know that it can go whichever way. It's not about the gender; it's more about the behavior." Being able to identify the red flags and being able to tell a grown up what is going on or what you think is going on. It doesn't have to be going on 100%. You think it might be. You think it might be. Tell the trusted people in your life. That is the plan. I share this every time we have a bridge in the gap. I share this all the time. Parenting is not about perfection. It is about connection. It is not about the people outside. It is about connection with the children, connection in the family, setting yourselves up for success, real, healthy, lasting success. Success that's beyond just money, success that's beyond just property and inheritances. Success that on the days where things are not, it's not a sunny day, it's a tough day, the family can connect. Parenting is not about perfection, it's about connection. Inspire your children with love, lead them with patience, and empower them to find their own path. As a teen and young adult coach, I know that whether we like it or not, our teenagers, our tweens, our young adults are facing a powerful, powerful enemy in grooming, are facing a powerful enemy in predators and in people who want to take advantage of them. We don't need to be perfect. We need to be connected. And we're going to talk more about that. So, what is this framework? Right? I talked earlier on about a framework, a strategy that we can use to have safety conversations with our children, with our words, with the younger people in our lives. And this is it, it's called CARE. C stands for connect first, A stands for ask, don't assume, R stands for reframe, E stands for equip, and that is care. And for anyone who is wondering why do I need a framework to discuss something that is simple? If I tell my children that they're groomers, they should take me seriously. Okay, maybe. But guess what? It's not that simple. Having safety conversations is never that simple, especially because what you don't want is a one sided conversation. What you don't want is a one and done conversation. What you don't want is the kind of conversation that goes in one ear and comes out through the other. What you don't want is the kind of conversation that a child gets out of and they're like, oh my God, that was super cringe. Let's never do that again. What you don't want is the kind of conversation that you're talking, and they don't understand what you're saying. You just seem like you're paranoid. And kids these days will let you know, you're so paranoid, mom. What do you mean? I'm in college. I don't need all of this drama. I don't need all of this drama. They'll be quick to tell you they don't need all of the drama. So let's talk about care. So, what does care look like? Connect first. What is connecting about? Right? Connecting is more about finding instances, situations, creating instances where you and your word, your child, your teen, your young adult connect, doing things that interest them. And in those moments where everything is calm and relaxed, conversation can start organically. Am I saying that you can't sit and have conversation? No, but I'm saying it's easier. It's more, it makes more of an impression when there is a connection. When there's a connection. So one thing that I do is start off by sharing an experience or thoughts about something. I find that it works for me. So we're connecting, and I'm like, I'm very concerned about just so and so that's happening and why that girl did what she did. And you know, when we're connected like that, I get a response from my kids, and they're like, maybe she thought he was really going to give her so and so. Maybe she thought he was her friend, and then the conversation begins. The conversation begins, and of course, age because of their ages, you will get different kinds of conversations and responses because they're still growing. But connection is key. You want to have safety conversations with your kids, your teens, your tweens, your young adults. Connection is key. You can't not be living together without any connection and then storming into their rooms or calling them on the phone and saying, "Let me just remind you that that this world is dangerous place." They're just going to be like, and move on, right? Ask, don't assume. Don't assume that you know everything. Don't assume that because they have great grades and everything is fine. Don't assume that because they're smiling, everything is okay. Don't assume that just because a teacher seems nice and they want to be your child's friend, or an adult seems nice and they're your friend, that means that they're safe for your child. Ask, ask, ask. Don't assume. And then reframe. Reframe safety. What do I mean by reframing safety? In our time, the conversation was about safety, stranger danger. You see a stranger, you don't talk to them. Don't talk to strangers online or wherever. If it's a stranger, your parents don't know them. We don't attend church with them. Nothing. Don't talk to them. They're not your friend. But now we're uncovering so many situations where people who were friends in the family, who were who were considered family were guilty of grooming children in the family, were guilty of using secrets against children in the family. So we are now reframing safety with our kids. It's no longer just stranger danger. Stranger danger is good, but it goes beyond stranger danger. Now, we are going to be talking about boundaries. What do boundaries look like? Boundaries with the body, boundaries with stories, boundaries with secrets, boundaries with your information. Why should I be sending you my school address? Why am I giving you my home address? Why am I texting you? Even if they say, here's my home address, what's yours? I don't have to give it to you. Teaching them how to stand their ground, reframing the idea of adult child relationship, reframing the idea that many of us grew up with, like, oh, it's an adult, you can't say no. It's an adult, saying no is disrespectful. Changing that and making them know this is my boundary, you cannot cross it. That's it, period. Right? And helping them until they enter into that level of strength. Because not all children are bold in that way. Some of them are people pleasers. Some of them just naturally are not confrontational, but training them when it's okay to stand your ground. Reframing it and talking to them about behavioral awareness, telling them about the red flags, what to watch out for. Why is a person why is an adult texting you in the middle of the night? Why are they sending you emojis that are not appropriate and then lying to you and telling you that, oh, they didn't know. They thought it was a real eggplant. Why are they sending you pictures and saying, oh, sorry, I was sending it to my girlfriend, to my boyfriend? Why? Why are they sending you explicit videos and saying they sent it by mistake? Behavioral awareness and teaching them values and principles that you want your family to be built on is what is key to making sure that they understand what safety is. And by understanding what safety is, then they can tell themselves, I'm not safe. I don't feel safe right now. And then they can leave the situation. And then finally, equipping. So, what does it mean to equip? Give them tools. And these are some of the things I've been talking about. Children, especially the younger ones, they don't usually have the language for these things. But teaching them, if you don't feel safe, speak up. Say it. I don't feel safe. I want my parents here. I don't feel comfortable with this questioning. I want to leave. Why are you asking me these questions? This, is crossing my boundaries. Being able to just teach them, give them language so that they know that ick feeling that they have is real. Equipping them with um, knowledge about what healthy relationships look like and healthy friendships look like. I'm looking forward to doing a video just on care. I think care should get its own video. I'm looking forward to doing it very soon. So please watch out for care. I'm going to do a whole video on care, the framework. But for now, I will say any safety topic, any topic that has to do with the safety of your child, care is a great, great framework that will help you and build the relationship. And this is key, building the relationship between us and our children. Does that mean that there won't be times that we will not get hard on them? Definitely not, because they need the hard days. They need the hard days because we meet people who we meet people and we know this one's gonna get some hard days. And that's why they're acting up. We just have that feeling. So they need the hard days because life comes with its hard days. And we are part of the Calvary and we'll be preparing them for those hard times. So care, connect first, ask, don't assume, reframe, equip. That's it. All right. So let me know Which one of this care do you think you're already doing? Which one do you think I need to settle in and do this? Which one are you thinking I might need help? I might need to talk to be able more about, about this one so I can get some ideas. Okay, so I put together a couple of organizations that help combat grooming and predators, and that's the NCMEC. But the NCMEC is more of a UK organization, I believe. But you can go to missingkids.org. Don't worry about where the organization is mainly based. There's so much resources on these sites, so many resources and just things that we can learn from this site. So please, if you want to learn more about combating grooming and predators, you can visit this site, missingkids.org, thorn.org. Darkness to Light is called. So if you want to search, it's d2l.org. There's so much resources. There's reviews. There's stories. They're not stories that are put there to scare people. They're not made up stories. These are real stories. We can learn more from these sites. For someone who thinks that there is a child in their neighborhood and that child may be getting groomed, they're not really sure what to. Thank you so much. That they're not really sure what to, do about it. National Child Abuse Hotline. There's a number you can call. It can be anonymous. You don't have to tell them who you are. You just have to give them a description of what you suspect. Childhelp.org. And then there are groups like In Hope, and they're the ones that are responsible for sending teams into houses to trick predators and groomers and make them feel that they're talking to children, but they're not talking to children, they're talking to them. So the In Hope guys, they have people set up to pretend like they're children. And then when that person starts sending those children all kinds of explicit material, starts talking to them, trying to deceive them, kidnap them, they move in and they get that person. They check the person's laptops, everything. Most times they find out that that person has been doing it for years because groomers don't stop. It's something that they do for a long time. And our children are innocent. They are not aware of how these things work. They see our friends. They think, oh, everybody, loves our parents. They all laugh together. That's how the world is, but it's not. And we don't want them to learn the hard way. So this is the best way to teach them. So let's take the right step. Let's bridge the gap. The safety of our children online and offline is paramount. And I have to say the safety of our children in person, that alone is hard. It's hard to tackle, to deal with. We're consistently talking to them. But the safety of children online is a whole other ball game. And it's tough for parents because many parents are thinking, am I supposed to sit with my child while they're on their iPad, while they're on TV? We know that that's not practical. But the truth of the matter is, if we get ahead of the game and we start to talk to our children using the care method, we start telling them about the realities of the things that exist. When they confront those things, they know how to act. When we equip them with the tools to use, they know what to do. They understand this is a channel that needs to be banned. They understand this video is not something they should be showing to children. I heard a particular woman, she's quite popular. She said she had discovered that there were sites, or there were YouTube, I'm not sure if it was YouTube, but there were sites that when a child was looking at their iPad, it had figured out a way to know if it was a child looking at the video. Maybe because of the size of the head in ratio to the pad, it had figured out if it was a child or an adult. So when the child is looking at an iPad, it starts to bring up advertisements that are more explicit, and they should not be showing children. But when an adult takes the iPad and looks at it, they don't see the ad. And I said, oh my gosh, this is true. Because there are times that I had one child that said, oh, I'm getting this pop up and it's saying this, that. And I took it, and I said, "Oh, I want to see it. What is it saying?" He couldn't really say exactly what it was, but when I took it, it wouldn't pop up. It would pop up clean ads. But then he took it back and it popped up. So when she shared that story, I was blown away. I said, "Is this possible? And why would somebody do something that diabolical?" Here's what I would say. We can't speak for why people do horrible things other than the fact that they don't know, that there's a better way to live yet. Hopefully they will. But for us as parents, mentors, guardians, the safety of our children is paramount. This presentation aims to drive that home and ensure that we can keep our communication channels open with our children. As a teen coach, I help teens and adolescents navigate these changes and work on healthier communication and developmental strategies that help empower them to maintain a deeper, more connected family dynamic. So, for further inquiries, you can reach me using this avenues. Why do I keep mentioning young adults? Because parenting does not stop because they graduated from college. It just changes. It just changes. It doesn't stop. I'm what, 40 this year? And I have both parents, and they're still parenting me, but in a different way. They are there. If I need them, they are available. That's now the dynamic that we have. If they need me, of course, I'm here. I'm not running to them every 5 minutes. I'm not running to them every day, but I know that they are present and I know that they care about me. So the dynamic changes with the different ages, but young adults, they still need us. They still need guidance. They still need our prayers. They still need us helping them, protecting them, sharing resources with them so they don't make mistakes that entirely change the trajectory of their future. Thank you for supporting Peace In, Peace Out Network. Thank you so much. In June, I will be starting my Set Them Up for Success workshop, and it's going to be for parents. And I'm going to be talking about psychological safety, practical ways that we can make our homes psychologically safe. If you have a child that is between the ages of 9 to 18, please join. Please join. Don't miss out on this. And if your child is younger and you want to come in, you would definitely welcome, because the younger they are, the better it is for you. You can change things. You can change things now, right? If the younger they are, the better. You can change things now. You're not doing like a fire brigade approach. You can change it now. So yes, please look out for that. Peace In, Peace Out Network. We're on WhatsApp. You can follow the group. I'll put out the link. We're on Facebook. So look out for Peace In, Peace Out Network. We're on Facebook. Please follow. And of course, I'm on Instagram. I have an Instagram group as well. Please follow. And of course, when you watch this, you can share your review by clicking the link in the chat. The younger they are, the better. And that's not saying that, if your kids are already out of college, you can't change things. You can change things because they still need you. We are seeing children going through tough times. They lost jobs. Thank you, sir. They lost jobs and they're living in their car. And they have parents who live in the next state, but they're too ashamed to go to their parents and say, "Mom, Dad, can I live in your basement for a few months till I get back on my feet?" And it breaks my heart because I'm like, why? Why are you living like a prodigal son when you have people who love you? And many times this happens because they don't think that the connection exists. For some reason, they think that the discipline that they got was because they are hated. They did not know that it was because they're loved. So we're going to figure out how to show our young ones that we love them, even when they're getting disciplined. So thank you very much. I can't wait for our Set Them Up for Success workshop in June. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to put out all the communication that we need. Please join us. It's going to be amazing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.